The Whispering Wind. The village of Shapur lay nestled between two hills, forgotten by time. Its cobbled paths and moss-covered rooftops seemed untouched by the world beyond. To the villagers, Shapur was the center of all things, safe, ordinary, and sacred. But on the edge of the village, where the trees grew tall and shadows fell quicker than the light, no one dared to linger. That was where the forest began, and with it, the tales of the Jinn. 17-year-old Ameera had grown up on those stories. Her grandmother, Dadi John, told them by lamplight with trembling hands and a voice heavy with fear. Never wander into the woods, she'd warn. The Jinn watches. The wind may speak kindly, but it lies. But Ameera wasn't afraid. Not really. She had questions, the kind no one in the village wanted to answer. Like what happened to her parents, or why no one spoke about her mother's last walk into the woods. Dadi John claimed it was an accident, lost in the fog, never seen again. But Ameera had never believed that. Her heart told her there was more. One humid evening, as the monsoon clouds crept low and heavy, Ameera sat by her window. The breeze was strange that night, cool and sweet, brushing across her face like silk. Then she heard it, a whisper, soft, gentle, just one word. Ameera. She froze, breath caught in her throat. There was no one there, no person, just the wind curling through the broken edges of the window pane. She stood up and peered out. The trees at the edge of the forest swayed rhythmically, though there was no wind strong enough to move them. Probably my imagination, she muttered, but her voice sounded unconvincing even to herself. The next morning, she found something strange in the attic while searching for a book. Tucked behind a stack of forgotten blankets was a small, carved wooden box, dusty and sealed with a rusted clasp. Inside lay a silver necklace, its chain impossibly fine, with a round, moonstone pendant that shimmered despite the darkness. She picked it up and felt a sudden warmth pulse through her palm. Her skin tingled where the metal touched. "It belonged to your mother," Dadi John said from the doorway, her voice quiet, as if confessing something sacred. "I hid it after she disappeared." Ameera turned to her. "Why didn't you ever tell me?" Dadi's eyes shimmered with emotion. "Because some truths invite danger." That night, Ameera couldn't sleep. She wore the necklace, fingers tracing its cool surface. The whisper returned, clearer this time, like breath on her ear. "You are not just human, Ameera." She sat bolt upright. The air in the room had grown colder, heavy with something ancient and watchful. She grabbed her shawl and stepped outside. The forest loomed in the distance. Normally, she would have stayed far away. But tonight, her feet moved before her mind could resist. The world fell silent as she crossed the field. Even the crickets held their breath. At the edge of the trees, the air shifted. The wind coiled around her, whispering like a forgotten lullaby. Come. There was no path, and yet she knew exactly where to go, as though someone or something was guiding her. Branches parted gently. The ground softened under her feet. A soft glow danced ahead, pale blue and flickering like fireflies caught in mist. Finally, she reached a clearing she'd never seen before. The trees circled around it like sentinels. In the center stood an old stone, half-buried, worn with age, etched with symbols she couldn't read. She stepped closer, heart pounding. Then the wind stopped. Silence. And then eyes. Glowing, golden eyes opened in the darkness beyond the stone. A figure began to emerge, half-shrouded in shadow, his form shifting like smoke. Not man, not beast. Something else. Something older. Ameera stumbled back, gasping. The figure spoke, not aloud, but into her mind. "You finally heard me." She wanted to run. She wanted to scream. But her feet stayed rooted. "Ooh, what are you?" she whispered. The being stepped closer, light catching his face, handsome in an otherworldly way, but undeniably inhuman. His eyes held centuries. "I am the one bound to your blood. And you, Ameera, are not who you think you are. The bound one." Ameera stood frozen. The air around her pulsed with energy, thick, electric, humming with a power she couldn't name. The figure before her, cloaked in shadow and light, radiated something that tugged at the deepest part of her. Her instincts screamed to flee, but her heart told her to listen. The being tilted his head, his golden eyes steady on hers. "Do not fear me, Ameera. I'm not here to harm you." Her voice cracked as she whispered, "Then who are you?" He stepped into the moonlight that pierced the canopy above. His form solidified, a man cloaked in flowing robes, dark hair falling over his shoulders, his skin faintly glowing. Yet something about him remained untouchable, like looking at a flame through glass. "I am Zariel," he said, "a Jinn, bound to this forest, bound to your family." Ameera staggered back. "Jinn? That's not real. You're just a dream or illusion." Zariel didn't react with anger. Instead, he gave a sad smile. "Your world has forgotten truths it once whispered to the stars. I am real, Ameera, as real as your blood, your breath, and your past." The necklace around her neck began to glow faintly. She clutched it instinctively. "That pendant was your mother's," Zariel said. "She was the last of the Seers, women born with the gift to perceive the unseen, to hear the voices others cannot. Like you." Ameera's breath hitched. "My mother, you knew her?" Zariel nodded. "She was brave. Too brave. She came to this forest seeking to protect you before you were even born. There were others, Jinn not like me. Darker, hungrier. She bound one of them, but the cost was her freedom." Ameera stepped closer, her fear slowly giving way to curiosity and pain. "What happened to her?" Zariel's eyes clouded. "She sacrificed herself to seal the rift that had been opened between our worlds. But before she did, she bound me to this place and to your bloodline. I was her shield, and now I am yours." Ameera shook her head. "Why me? I'm no one. I live in a quiet village, and yet you heard me," Zariel interrupted. "No one else hears the wind when it speaks. No one else walks willingly into cursed woods at night." He paused. "You're more like your mother than you know." The word struck something inside her, pride, sorrow, confusion. She looked around the clearing. The forest no longer felt threatening. It felt familiar, like a song she'd heard long ago but forgotten. "So what now?" she asked. Zariel's face turned grave. "My curse remains. I cannot leave this forest. I'm a guardian, yes, but also a prisoner. Until the blood of the Seer who awakened me speaks the true name that binds me, I remain chained." Ameera frowned. "True name?" He nodded. "Every Jinn has a name hidden even from themselves. A name only someone connected to them by fate or blood can speak. A Seer can find it, if she listens." The trees rustled, though no wind stirred. The air grew tense. "But we have little time," Zariel said, his tone shifting. "Someone has sensed my stirring. The forest balance has shifted. Darkness watches." Ameera turned toward the village, a chill creeping down her spine. She thought of Dadi John, the villagers, the superstitions, the fear. If they knew what she had done, where she had gone, "They'll come," she said. "The villagers. They'll try to burn this place down." Zariel's jaw tightened. "They have done it before. Fire wounds the forest, and me." Ameera's fists clenched. "They don't understand. They only know fear." "Then help me," Zariel said, stepping closer. "Help me remember the name I've forgotten. Save the forest. Save me." Their eyes met, something ancient and aching between them. She didn't know if it was madness or fate, but in that moment, she knew her life had changed. The forest had chosen her. The past had returned, and the voice in the wind was not a lie. "I'll come back," she whispered. "Tomorrow night." Zariel nodded. "I will be waiting." As Ameera turned and walked back toward the village, the forest closed behind her. But the necklace around her neck pulsed softly, alive, aware, watching. And deep in the shadows, something else watched too. Not Zariel, not kind, something waking. The forgotten truth. Ameera didn't sleep that night. She sat by the window, the silver necklace glowing faintly against her skin, her mind racing with questions and memories. Her mother hadn't known Zariel. Her mother had been a seer. And now, it was her turn to step into that forgotten legacy. The next morning, Shahpur buzzed with unease. Word had spread that someone had seen strange lights in the forest, that the wind had begun to whisper again. The elders gathered at the mosque steps, their faces grave. Among them stood Malvi Farid, the village priest, eyes sharp with suspicion. "It has begun again," he said. "The Jinn stirs. The girl has awakened it." Ameera watched from the shadows, heart pounding. She slipped away before their eyes could find her. By dusk, she was already in the forest. This time it welcomed her. The branches shifted gently to let her pass. The shadows no longer threatened. They bowed. Zariel waited at the clearing, his golden eyes calm but sad. "You came." "I had to," she said, stepping close. "They're afraid of you." Zariel gave a small smile. "Fear is easier than truth, but truth is what we need." He raised a hand, and the clearing shimmered. The air rippled like heat over sand, and then images formed around them. Ghostly, half real, like memories brought to life. Ameera saw her mother, tall, graceful, dark hair blowing as she walked through the same forest path. She was pregnant, Ameera realized with a shock, and determined. Another figure appeared, darker, taller, eyes like burning coals. "That is the one she fought," Zariel said. "The rival Jinn. His name is lost to time. He fed on the Seer's gift, hoping to break the boundary between worlds." In the vision, Ameera's mother held up the same pendant now around Ameera's neck. She chanted words in a forgotten tongue, light pouring from her hands. The dark Jinn screamed, his form splitting, shattering. "She sealed him," Zariel said, voice quiet. "But his essence lingers, and so does his hunger." The vision shifted. Her mother knelt by a stone, carving runes into it, the same stone in the clearing. "That's where she bound you," Ameera said. Zariel nodded. She didn't trust anyone else. She knew I would protect you, but she also knew that only her daughter could one day finish what she started. The vision ended. Silence returned. Ameera wiped her face. She hadn't realized she was crying. "She gave everything," she whispered, "and I've lived my life in the dark." "Not anymore," Zariel said. "The truth lives in you. You are the last seer." Suddenly, the forest trembled. A gust of hot wind blew through the clearing, sharp with smoke. In the distance, fire. Zariel's expression hardened. "They've come." Ameera turned, heart thudding. Flickers of orange glowed between the trees. "No," she gasped. "They're burning the forest. They believe it will destroy me. It will not, but it will weaken me and tear open what your mother sealed." He looked at her. "You must stop them." Ameera didn't know how. She couldn't face a dozen terrified villagers alone. But something inside her, something ancient and powerful, stirred. She placed her hand on the stone, closing her eyes. "Show me," she whispered. "Show me who I am." The pendant around her neck flared bright. Symbols etched into the stone blazed with light. Energy rushed up her arm. Visions, memories, voices, everything her mother had hidden now pouring into her mind. She saw the true name, Zariel. She opened her eyes. Zariel knelt, as if the name had reached into his soul. His chains, spiritual and unseen, shattered like glass. For the first time, he stood tall, unbound. "You remembered my name," he breathed. "You freed me." But the moment shattered as a terrible roar echoed through the woods. From the edge of the fire, a figure emerged, twisted, smoky, monstrous. "The other one," Zariel said. "He's breaking free." Ameera stood between them, eyes blazing with new power. "Then let him come." The wind howled, the forest burned, and the ancient battle that had paused for 17 years had begun again. Fire and fate. The forest screamed. Flames leapt from tree to tree, devouring centuries in minutes. Smoke choked the air, and the sky turned red. Villagers with torches moved like ghosts between the trunks, their chants desperate, terrified. They thought they were saving their world, but they were tearing it apart. At the heart of the inferno stood Ameera, her hair wild, eyes glowing with the light of the pendant, her body trembling with the force of the power awakening inside her. Zariel stood beside her, free for the first time in nearly 2 decades. And across from them, rising from shadow and smoke, came the creature her mother had sealed. The dark Jinn, its form twisted with fire and ash, its eyes pits of endless hunger. It stepped onto the sacred clearing, growling words in a tongue older than stone. The seer failed, it hissed, and now the daughter burns with her. Zariel stepped forward, flame circling his hands. She's stronger than you know. Ameera didn't flinch. Her voice was steady. You tried to break into our world once. My mother stopped you. Now I finish it. The dark Jinn laughed, and with a motion of its clawed hand, the fire surged toward them. But the flames curved around Ameera and Zariel like a river split by rock. The pendant flared, casting a dome of shimmering light around them. You wield her blood, the creature snarled. But you are still human. Ameera closed her eyes. In her mind, she saw her mother, kneeling beside her cradle, whispering ancient verses. She heard her voice, calm and firm. The light of the seer is not born in fear. It rises in purpose. Ameera opened her eyes. You're right. I am human, but I'm not just that. She raised her hand. The runes on the ancient stone lit up once more, and with them, the trees responded, glowing at their roots, the magic of the forest awakening from its long sleep. Zariel moved like wind and lightning, meeting the dark Jinn with a roar. Their clash sent shockwaves through the earth. Light and shadow collided, each blow a strike of thunder, each scream tearing bark from trees. But the dark Jinn was not weak. Zariel faltered, slammed against the ancient stone, blood dripping from his mouth. He grows stronger from the flames, he said. He feeds on destruction. Ameera understood then. The forest itself was part of the prison. As it burned, the dark Jinn became free. Every tree that fell was another chain broken. She turned to the villagers now standing behind the fire lines, watching with horror and awe. Among them, she saw Dadi John, weeping, and Malvi Farid, his torch dropped, eyes wide with regret. You must stop the fire, Ameera cried. Every flame gives him power. At first, no one moved. Then Dadi John stepped forward. Put them out, she shouted. Now, save the forest, save her. The villagers scattered, dropping buckets into the wells, tearing off shawls to beat back flames. The fire slowly began to shrink, the air clearing. Ameera knelt beside Zariel. Can you still fight? He smiled faintly. Not alone. She took his hand. Then we do it together. She drew from the pendant, from the forest, from the strength in her blood. A beam of light shot upward, piercing the smoke, shattering the clouds. The dark Jinn shrieked, shielding its form as the light burned through its darkness. Speak the name, Zariel said weakly. End it. Ameera stood tall. She looked into the heart of the monster and said the words her mother had whispered long ago. As a coven, I name you. I bind you. The name struck like lightning. The dark Jinn screamed as its form unraveled, shadows ripping from its body, sucked back into the earth. The runes on the stone turned gold, sealing once more. The fire hissed and died, leaving silence and smoke. It was over. Ameera collapsed beside Zariel. The forest, though scorched, began to glow faintly, roots knitting, leaves blooming in bursts of green and gold. Villagers slowly entered the clearing, their eyes wide with wonder. No one spoke, but they saw her, not just as a girl, as the last seer. Epilogue. Weeks passed. The forest healed. Zariel, no longer a prisoner, became its quiet guardian. The villagers built shrines instead of fences. And Ameera? She stood often at the stone, listening to the wind. It no longer whispered warnings. It sang.